Okay, welcome, relatives, to another episode of Intro Spectrum. Today, as you can see, it is a miserable gray day outside filled with bleach white nanotech fog, courtesy of the globalists who want us to choke and die, but harvest our data while we do. That's key. So, without further ado, I would like to share with you all an article that I happened upon that really lays it all out um, really well. And it's got some typos, so I'm going to try my best to correct it as I'm reading it. It's kind of long, but it's really rewarding. Now, keep in mind, this article was written in September of 2021, so it's really looking forward to this time that we're in right now, um, which is late February 2022. But now it's not really a prediction, it's more a description of what is happening to us right now. So just bear that in mind. And here we go. Does it feel like everything is falling apart in the world? Does it feel like we're in the midst of a revolution? Well, that is certainly what Pluto in Capricorn represents. Pluto symbolizes a revolutionary process through destruction and deconstruction of what was. Pluto is change and revolution. It is the transformation process signified by death and rebirth, symbolized as the phoenix rising from the ashes of destruction, transformed into a new version of itself. It is like a snake shedding its skin. Pluto in Capricorn represents transforming and rebuilding from the ashes in the realm of political and financial power. Pluto officially entered Capricorn on January 25th, 2008, and since then has been in major transformation mode in the political, business, corporate, financial realm that has been escalating. The last time Pluto was in Capricorn was in the late 1700s during the time of the revolution. Considering what is going on in the world right now, that's quite a coincidence. Pluto will officially return to where it was in Capricorn on July 4th, 1776, on February 20th, 2022, which is essentially now, it's the February 22nd, at 5:25 a.m. Eastern Time at 27 degrees 33 arc minutes. This has been a cycle of nearly 246 years, and now Pluto is back in Capricorn, exactly where it was during the revolution that gave birth to the United States of America. Back then, Pluto wasn't discovered yet, but we can still see the parallels between 1776 and what's happening today, as Pluto returns back to the same area of the zodiac, repeating the cycle. So now you can see here, this is the chart. So the way this works is this inner ring is the chart for July 4th, 1776. You can see, I could go into detail about why the founding fathers chose this exact date, because they were very advanced, in esoteric Kabbalism, astrology, all that stuff. So they chose Sun and Cancer. Anyway, I don't need to go into that. So this is the inner ring is the chart for the birth of the United States. And the outer ring with the green out here shows the position of the planets now, or, in February, which is now, of 2022. And if you'll notice here, the circled region, Pluto is in the exact same spot, which means since July 4th, 1776, all these planets are going around, right, in a circle. Pluto has a 246-year orbit. That's a long bleep in time. So it's gone all the way around, and now we're back to where we began. So moving right along. In astrology, we take a larger look at the overall themes and patterns that are emerging in reality. This article discusses some of the correlations of what is happening in the world today as it is symbolized in relation to astrology. What is happening is highly complex, and there's always more to discuss. So as we progress through this period and get closer to February 20th, 2022, again, that's now, more additional accompanying articles will be linked at the bottom of this page. Back in 1776, the West was in a war against the crown for the rights of the people to be freed from the tyranny of dictatorship, choosing to be self-governed, which led to the Declaration of Independence and the birth of America. As history repeats itself, we can see parallels to today as calamitous transformation happening in the political world today. We're in a revolutionary period yet again that is riddled with destructive forces and battles for power, all very much associated with Pluto and Capricorn. This has the potential to bring a great awakening as people realize what has been hidden for so long about how the system of world power actually works. It's also important to remember that the Pluto return of the United States is not just about the United States. It also reminds us that this was a major turning point and transformation for the whole world, with a major shift in power. Pluto is the higher octave of Mars, the warrior, and symbolizes highly destructive forces and abuses of power. In Capricorn, it is the hierarchies of power dynamics in the realm of political power, where egos reign. Revolutions are always about standing up for freedom and against such tyranny. Pluto and Saturn are the key players to consider with this Pluto return in Capricorn, as Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. Saturn is currently in Aquarius, which is associated with science and technology, as well as social groups and information that spans the collective consciousness. An easy way to remember what Capricorn represents is to think of it as capitalism, the head of power. You can also think of Capricorn as the climb to the top of the mountain to attain power, also symbolized by the cap stone of the pyramid, representing humankind's height of materialistic power and authority. Capricorn represents what the ego strives for in the material world, the goals that consume many people's lives, money and wealth, and all that comes with it: power, prestige, reputation, fame, business, career, political power. Pluto is largely about power, so in this way, especially in Capricorn, you might think of it as the Eye of Sauron in The Lord of the Rings, as the destructive authoritative power pushing hard to rule over the rest of the world to attain its self-centered goals at any expense to others. As mentioned, Saturn, the Lord of the Rings, is the ruling planet of Capricorn. Also, as mentioned, Pluto is considered the higher octave of Mars, which gives us further insight into the potential for highly destructive power to be wielded, especially by those in positions of power in society, particularly the rich plutocrats. With Pluto in Capricorn, it is the manifestation of an unyielding, overpowering, dominating, destructive, and abusive power of an oligarchy that becomes evident. In 1776, they were fighting against the crown, and with the Pluto return this time around, people are obviously fighting for freedom against the dictates and rules around the crown virus. That's interesting. Pluto is also associated with death, disease, and poison. What a coincidence. Saturn, as ruler of Capricorn, represents authority figures and leaders of all kinds, especially the political realm of those in power. Saturn represents control, authoritative systems, rules, restrictions, and limitations that give structure to and govern our world. Saturn is organizational processes. It also rules time and is associated with the Greek chronos, symbolized by a scythe corresponding to reaping, as in the Grim Reaper, also symbolizing death and endings. Saturn, currently in Aquarius, represents a lot of control measures by authority figures over society, especially in terms of social groups, communication, and information exchanges, science, and technology, which are all the domain of air sign Aquarius. Saturn uses these things to create hard, forced structure and can bring society to a prison-like existence. Saturn in Aquarius essentially puts a spotlight on mind control, thought control, social control, and groupthink. Government means govern, to rule, and ment, the mind, so ruling the mind, which is why corporate media is such an important part of the control measures over humankind. Of course, with Saturn in Aquarius, we have seen plenty of examples of power and dominance pushed to influence society through the use of peer pressure, accompanied by censorship and demands to conform to the will of authority or be canceled from social networks, reputations being framed, and people being ostracized from society for not falling in line with the demanded rules of groupthink. Saturn in Aquarius reminds us that these are choices and demands made by those in positions of global power and authority to ensure they reach their global goals while removing any obstacles to those goals of control and dominance. Saturn and Capricorn are associated with all systems of governance and bureaucracy, establishment, and administrations, including all high-profile and influential organizations throughout the world that are connected to politics and financial power. It includes all aspects of the hierarchy of power that enforces the structure dictated from the top, from the police to the justice system, law and order to non-governmental organizations, corporations, big tech, big pharma, the military, the education system, media, etc. All the things that are at the top of the order of society that issue rules and governance over the people and the world through a highly organized hierarchy of dominance from the top down. It includes associated titles, reputation, uniforms, and all positions of authority. With Saturn in Aquarius during this period, we see the merging of power of politics with big tech corporate power to socially engineer society into a system designed, organized, and orchestrated by those in power. Plutocrats, wealthy people in powerful positions connected to big business and politics, aka elitists, another key association to Pluto in Capricorn. As Saturn represents limitations and organized systematic control, in Aquarius, we see it in censorship of anything that points out the corruption of those powerful people in positions of authority. Whereas Capricorn represents capitalism and elitists, Aquarius would represent socialism and social groupings of people. With Saturn in Aquarius, socialism can go a step further into communistic control, merged with political and corporate power uniting as fascism. Currently in society, we see a huge shift toward imposing divisions of people and separations of groups where politicians and media influencers are using identity politics to divide and compartmentalize people into opposing groups. This method of mind control, social control, keeps people divided among each other, as the rules and restrictions from above have unlimited reasons, quote unquote, created to add more rules and controls over the people. Pluto in Capricorn is destruction mode of the established system to transform it into something different. Meanwhile, Saturn in Aquarius during this period indicates a merging of political power with technology, pointing to why corporate media and social media tech companies are operating in unison at the level of authority and governance to establish control measures over the populace. We also know from history that the merging of political power with corporate power is the definition of fascism. What we are seeing is a dramatic battle and power struggle that utilizes excessive, abusive aspects of capitalist society with socialist, communist society to form a global dictatorship. The past few years have been especially eye-opening for a lot of people with the hardcore push of power and control by politicians and plutocrats, and it has been escalating in severity as we get closer, arriving now, to the Pluto return of the US. The world is being pushed into a series of crises designed and perpetuated by elitists as they vie to maintain and enhance their power and control over humanity. What we do know for sure from history is that crises that continually strip away people's rights and freedoms eventually lead to revolution. As dictatorships are formed by the few at the top, the freedom of the people to escape tyrannical dictates naturally becomes the priority for the masses. However, with so much centralized power dominating the flow of information and censorship is applied to anyone that speaks up against the dictatorship, the struggle intensifies as destructive control measures dig their roots deeper into people's lives. It can't be said enough that what is happening is all so very symbolic of Pluto in Capricorn and Saturn in Aquarius. The Pluto return of the United States is so important for the world because the United States has been the main symbol of power, especially politically, financially, and militarily for the entire world. And what happens to the US clearly affects the entire system of the political financial world. We've all heard the slogan, "Build Back Better," used by many leaders and officials around the world, globally signifying rebuilding, quote unquote, after the destruction of the material, physical, political, financial realm, with Pluto and Capricorn leading the transformation process into a new, stronger power. As Capricorn is about big goals and achievements, we can see the writing on the wall. All that is happening is associated with the goal of the planned Great Reset. But we must all consider that there are over 7.5 billion people in the world. So who gets to decide how the world changes for everyone? Who are the few rich and powerful that are in control of the most influential decisions that affect the world? Who is pulling all the strings at the top to ensure the new system manifests in the world? It is, of course, the plutocrats, the people with the most money, because at the end of the day, Pluto in Capricorn represents that power in the world is through financial wealth. The world we experience of humanity is no accident. It is all by design, because what humanity manifests in the world is based on people's thoughts, ideas, and decisions to move in a certain direction. It just so happens that those with the most money, wealth, resources have the most influence and power. So, of course, they get to make big decisions that affect the majority of people in the world. Politicians make the rules, laws, mandates that govern over the rest of us. And of course, we know that their decisions are largely made according to their financial donors and associates with a lot of corporate financial power. It's also interesting to consider the timing of this Pluto return as 02, 20, 2022, all those repeating number twos. What a coincidence. And in numerology, 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 10, equals 1. 10 is completion, and 1 is a new beginning. Numerologically as well, build back better, or BBB in simple numerology, equals 2, 2, 2. Another coincidence. Pluto in Capricorn rocks the very foundations and systems that rule over the world. Pluto also symbolizes all that goes on behind the scenes, what is hidden, occulted. Pluto is judgment, where truth destroys illusions, and the hidden roots of deception are exposed. Pluto represents death and destruction as the ultimate transformation process. In Capricorn, what we see going on in the world leading up to this Pluto return is all connected as part of a larger, structured, organized plan of transformation. Transformation through death, destruction, and disease of the physical material world, not just the political and corporate financial world, but also our physical material world of the environment and nature, including our bodies, are indicated now. With Pluto in Capricorn, it's obvious that there's a lot of corruption, and a lot of people in power would work hard not to reveal their plans so obviously, as deception to keep the truth hidden is strongly indicated during this period. Those in power and influence would say one thing to the public to attain their goals, but would do another in the interest of their powerful plutocratic associates behind the scenes. Like Pluto, they often operate hidden behind the scenes, creating lengthy bills that are thousands of pages long that nobody reads thoroughly, so major decisions that could dramatically rule over people's lives could slip through and get approved without most people being aware of the details. But Pluto in Capricorn also reveals by digging up the nasty dirt that is going on behind the scenes at the top of society and exposing it all. Altogether, we're witnessing a paradigm shift that is leading to a new revolution of humanity. But again, who gets to decide where we end up going? The rich, elitist oligarchs and political influences and technocratic giants are all evidently working together at the higher level of civilization to create their vision for their interest. And like destructive Pluto, the destructive process is part of the package. With the connection of Saturn and Aquarius and Pluto in Capricorn, it is not only the destruction of the old established political and financial systems that are in focus, but also a transformation into a more technological power that includes developments toward artificial intelligence and transhumanism. The trans movement has also become a major focus over the past decade as part of the transformation of the physical with Pluto and Capricorn. It makes sense that this is in strong focus during this period, as Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio, which rules sex, and Capricorn is the attainment of physical goals. Thus, transformation of the physical body is indicated here. It is also indicated that the transformation of the physical body doesn't stop there. With Saturn in Aquarius and Pluto in Capricorn, we can see that we are heading toward a push for transhumanism, where humanity is merged with technology and technological systems. We're in the midst of a transformation of mind and body, where cyborgs and robots merge, connected by satellites, cellular technology, computer systems, and electronic data, where artificial intelligence and those programming the AI algorithms make decisions for humanity as a collective. As the push toward major transformation increases, Saturn in Aquarius reminds us that mind control is a huge focus and what's going on now with censorship and peer pressure to conform to the goals of authority. We have talk of the fourth industrial revolution, where biotechnology could lead to people becoming part of a system known as the Internet of Things or the Internet of Bodies. All right, let's see. With Uranus, the ruler of Aquarius, now in Taurus, another earth sign strongly associated with the physical, material, financial world, like Capricorn, and Uranus being associated with technology and scientific experimentation, Uranus in Taurus indicates that experiments in biotechnology are now in focus as part of the transformation process. We're also seeing control measures, as indicated by Saturn and Aquarius, increase, with technology like track and trace and V passports, all steps toward a digital ID social credit score system like the one they rolled out in China already. Designed to control all aspects of people's lives according to rules, mandates, and dictates by those in authority. Astrology indicates the technocratic systems of authority will increase in surveillance power, right down to the level of people's cells, and that nanotechnology, as part of the system, is a strong possibility. Pluto and Saturn are both associated with fear and control, so it is wise for all to be conscious of how fear and control are being utilized to manifest the reality we are living in and heading toward in the future. Together, our individual choices can transform the direction of the future and change the collective experience to manifest what we the people want the future to become, rather than being herded into a dystopian future decided by plutocrats. Saturn in Aquarius teaches us that the real solution to ending tyrannical destruction is non-participation. I'll say that again. Real solution is non-participation. Stop feeding into these systems. Stop using them. Stop. Aquarius wants freedom. Humanity can come together, uniting with one another for freedom, collectively resisting oppression. That's the real revolution. So, with that, I don't have a ton to add. Again, this article was looking forward from September, but now we're here. It's all happening. You know, the trucker strike, the situation with what's happening with Ukraine, and now oil is above $100 a barrel. It's all happening, and again, this was an astrological spin on it because astrology is a powerful tool, if you're open to it. But even failing that, if you don't want to look at it through that lens, this writing is on the wall and the signs are impossible to ignore. This is going on, and every decision we make on an individual level matters. Whether you cave and say, oh, I have to wear a mask to go into the store and I really want a latte, or if you go home and make a fucking latte yourself because you probably have coffee at home, or you find another coffee shop with some awesome new age hippie dude and some art on the wall, that doesn't make you wear a mask, because sometimes it's more difficult. But it's worth it, because those decisions we make on an individual basis determines how the whole and how the collective actually comes together. And so that's all I got for today. Maybe make some more stuff, do some research, keep researching, guys. Stay focused, stay confident, stay positive. Shit's gonna get crazy, and just don't buy it. Don't buy any of what they're trying to sell you. It's all coming down, and all this division is fake. It's all fake. Everything they show you, everything they try to sell you on is completely fucking fake. We are one humanity. We're brothers and sisters together. Nothing can or will fragment us. We are one body. We're one soul. And this is a battle against ego. Just like the article said, it's a battle against the ego of those that cannot let go, that cannot let go of power and control, and that must dominate, or I should say must attempt to dominate the whole of humanity. But now the whole of humanity is waking up, and we are becoming rapidly aware that there's a fucking problem. And so a change are gonna come. That's all for today. I love you all, and stay strong.